What's up, dudes and dudettes? My name's Ezekiel, and welcome to a discussion review series for the Pepperoni Pie anime. So, as a lot of you know, I voice acted the character Isaac, and season 3 is coming out soon, so I'm going to be rewatching and reviewing seasons 1 and 2. And today I'm going to be talking about the first episode. I've written down some notes on after watching episode 1. And I apologize for using graph paper. That's my only notebook. But yeah, I've got some notes for episode 1, so I can try to stay on topic. But yeah, I can't wait for season 3. So here we go. Episode 1. First thing I've written down was cool intro. The intro really was the best part of season 1, because season 1 was just like trying to find its groove, you know? It was, they didn't really have much in the beginning of season 1, especially in the first episode. But then again, the first episode was just kind of an introduction. It didn't really have too much to the plot, other than some exposition and introducing the characters. And it did introduce the characters well enough, I guess. But the intro is the best part. Great theme. The animation was amazing for it. It kind of felt like they spent most of their animation budget on the intro, but I mean... But yeah, so first episode, great intro. And the next thing I've written down is Pie enters. So Pie's entrance was okay. It wasn't like the most grand entrance ever, but like it worked. It wasn't bad. The way he came into town was, I mean, it did set up how like people knew him. Like he'd just come back into town after a while. Came and met with people, and like the interactions were nice. It showed the people he was close with, showed the people he could have been closer to. It showed the people who didn't like him so much. And like, while a lot of people focus on like the main antagonist of the show, like the big bad guy, or like other evil characters, like casual antagonists that are like just people that just generally don't like the main character, but aren't really evil and don't really do anything other than just not like him. Those are still kind of important, and that's something I guess the show does right. Is there was the character Terrence didn't like Pie that much. He thought Pie was just kind of annoying. And I mean, it was a pretty good interaction that they had in that first episode, and I liked it. But after Pie went around talking to people, he went to Isaac. And oh boy. That brings me to my next point, was bad lines. While everything was done okay, some of the lines were not the best. And I noticed that when we were recording it. Like, when I was reading my lines in the script, I was like, this is bad. In fact, in later episodes, especially in season 2, I just sort of ad-libbed some parts of the script, and many of them made it in, some did not, but actually more than what made it in did not. I know I said many made it in, but there were a lot of ad libs. But yeah, we so first, but I first season I just went with it because, like, you know, they were that's what they were paying me to do, was say the stupid lines. The voice cast though was pretty great. Like, we did our jobs well with what we were given. It's just the dialogue, while the story is pretty good, the dialogue, at least in the first few episodes of the first season, was lackluster. And then, because this was an introductory episode, it introduced the concept of astro beasts. Which are beasts out in the world that can be summoned to do an owner's bidding. Every person has an astro beast, but you have to be able to first summon one and then tame one. And I mean, it I throughout the episode, like, it was mentioned several times that I have tried a lot to summon, that Isaac tried a lot to summon the Astro Beast, and he couldn't. And it's pretty much a running joke throughout the whole season, is that I just can't summon an Astro Beast. Pie, if I remember correctly, I just watched the episode, but the first episode, while okay, was still a little boring. It just kind of set stuff up for the action for later episodes, but Pie was able to, I think he was able to locate his Astro Beast, if not summon it. And I think he locates it, and then they finds out what his spirit beast is, his Astro Beast, and then they spend the next few episodes trying to summon it. Oh yeah, that is how it happened, because Isaac has known what his Astro Beast is for some time and just can't summon it. That's the joke. There we go. And to the point where people don't believe what his spirit beast is, because he says it's something really good or whatever. What was it? I've read those lines 1,000 times, and I don't remember what his spirit beast was. I may have to rewatch the episode, but tell me in the comments what Isaac's Astro Beast was supposed to be. He obviously didn't summon it, but tell me. He knew what it was, so tell me what it was, and whether or not you thought that he was telling the truth about it or not. And it also had a cool outro, was my next point. I don't know why I put that. I mean, I guess it was because I don't know why I wrote it in that order. Maybe it was just because I watched everything and I was like, oh, hey, the outro is cool too, let's put that down. But I should have put that in parentheses next to intro, but whatever. The outro is also pretty good. I love the band who did the song for that outro, so I was really happy to hear their music. But the outro was just really good, and it in later episodes brings some feels. It's so good. And you know, it's not one of my points, but the soundtrack in general was just really good. Like, they spent most of their money on, like, the outro, intro, and then the soundtrack, and then they spent the leftover on story, and then afterwards they were just like, oh man, we forgot about dialogue. Who can we get for dialogue? Bill from The Office knows dialogue. So, but yeah. I guess there were some problems with the writing in some points, but not in episode 1. It was just sort of bland. But, yeah. What they could have done better is, I mean, I guess they could have had some action in the first episode, because it was pretty much just talking. They could have had somebody fight something. I wish they had, because, like, the first fight's not till episode 3, and it's just really good, from what I remember. I haven't rewatched it yet, and I'll have to, but I remember it being pretty good. But they should have had more action in this episode. Like, even though Pie doesn't fight in this one, they could have. I mean, sure, they don't have him fight because he hasn't summoned his Astro Beast yet, and he doesn't for another few episodes. But they don't. They could have had like a guy from the town summon his Astro Beast and then fight off like a bad guy of some sort, but they didn't. They probably should have. Obviously the dialogue could have been a bit better. My lines were just awful, but at least they got better in season 2. Some of it was because we hired a new dialogue writer, and some of it was because I improv'd a lot. But I digress. But yeah, that was pretty much episode 1, and episode 1, The Adventure Begins. And I guess the title was a little, like, bland, because a lot of things have been called The Adventure Begins, or whatever. But I don't know. Overall, it was just kind of average, I guess. The show gets better, especially in season 2, and I'm very excited for season 3. So I will, that's gonna do it for this one. Next week, around this time, I will make a video for episode 2 of season 1, and I can't wait to do it. So I'm gonna go rewatch that like 5 times within this week, probably once right now, and and I'll get back to you guys in a week. So yeah, until then, I will see you guys.